it's Yuenny, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to share with you how I buy pre-loved luxury goods. I've had so many questions kind of over the years asking me how I buy, what do I look for, and where I buy kind of my pre-loved items from. And I've had a specific request on Instagram from a friend, which is Sense and Makeup. Thank you for the request. So I'm going to kind of share with you, the process of buying pre-loved. I know there are a lot of videos on YouTube kind of on tips on how other people buy their pre-loved items, but a majority of them are actually based in the US, so we don't actually have, well, we do have Yogi's Closet and Fashion File, but because it's kind of based in the US, which means that prices in the US are generally higher than in the UK, so their second-hand items are actually for sale for more than it is brand new in the UK, if that makes sense. So I kind of stick to buying pre-loved within the UK. I don't want the video to be too long and kind of all over the place, so I'm just going to stick with 3 kind of categories in the video, so it's kind of more to the point and I kind of have it in my head a bit clearer kind of what I'm just trying to say. So there are 3 categories. The first one would be kind of where I buy my pre-loved goods, the second one would be authentication, and the third one is just general tips and advice on kind of what I've learned over the years. So if you're interested in finding out how I buy luxury goods, then please keep watching. So the first category is where I buy luxury goods, as well as probably sell them as well. There are 4 places that I look for mainly to buy pre-loved luxury items, and they're generally Louis Vuitton items. I'm just a huge fan, as you might know. So the first place would be eBay. I know a lot of people kind of a bit worried about buying from eBay because there are a lot of people who sell counterfeit. There's been kind of experience with that in the past as well, but if you know what you're looking for, then eBay is actually a great place to buy pre-loved luxury items. I've kind of had both good and bad experience buying and selling through eBay. I've had more good experience than bad, so I still kind of do go there if there's something that I am looking to buy. The second place that I like buying from and selling is Facebook groups. Groups that are kind of, generally they're closed to kind of general public, so you have to kind of request to join the group, and that way is to protect all the members from end up buying something that isn't genuine. So I think that's a really good idea. They usually limit the number of members they have in the group, so they can kind of keep an eye on like who's legit and who's not, if that makes sense. I'm currently part of 3 Facebook groups which are based in the UK, and I've had amazing experience. Everything has been perfect buying and selling through there. It's a great way to find something for a good price, as well as sell your items without kind of having to pay eBay fees. There are sometimes PayPal fees involved, but it all depends on the seller. Sometimes the seller includes like the price that they're selling for includes PayPal fees, which is really good. And then also sometimes there'll be added postage, but again, that all depends on the seller. The other place I quite like to buy from is Instagram. I know it's probably a little bit riskier if you don't actually know the person who's selling, but over the years I kind of been talking to a lot of people on Instagram, and they kind of become friends in a way, and so I do buy and sell kind of through there, but I am more cautious, and obviously I wouldn't just buy something off someone I just don't know, and I just random to see something that they were selling. So but that's kind of an option. In terms of kind of consignment online stores, I have bought a bag from Vide Dressing. That was one of the recent purchases, which is a Chanel item actually, instead of Louis Vuitton. That was my first and only experience so far, and it's been positive. I've read a lot of reviews on the internet saying that Vide Dressing is really bad, and they kind of end up buying items and they never arrive, and then people just have really negative experience. But I personally had a great experience, and the item arrived very quickly. It was authentic and perfect, and exactly as it was listed on the website. I haven't sold anything through Vide Dressing, but I've definitely purchased. So I would go to Vide Dressing again if there's something I look for, but generally their collection and things that are on sale, there aren't a lot, so there's quite kind of limited stock. So those are the 4 places that I personally have had experience buying as well as selling or selling. So it's eBay, Facebook, Instagram, and Vide Dressing. There are other sites that I've heard of, but I don't have actually personal experience buying or selling on there. One of them is the Vestiaire Collective. I'll put the link down below if you're interested in kind of checking it out. They do have a big collection, and a lot of people sell through there, and you could probably find most things that you are looking for. I've never sold on there because I believe their commission is actually quite high. I think it's something like, it's either 25% or 30%, so it's quite high. There's also labels most wanted. Again, they don't actually have a lot at all. Sometimes they have like one thing on there for sale, but I have seen kind of things that I personally wanted on there before, but then when I kind of decided to buy it, then it was sold. So they have a teeny tiny collection of items that they want to sell. The other place is NPN handbags. They kind of have a good selection of items, and most of them are pristine or new and in really good condition, so I think that's a good place to look. And there's another website called Finer Things of Aberdeen. Again, I've not actually bought from there, but I know of it, so yeah, I'll leave all the links and information down below if you'd like to check them out. Now moving on to authentication, when it comes to buying pre-loved Louis Vuitton, I'm quite confident in what I'm looking for, and usually when I decide to buy something, I'm quite sure that it is authentic. Otherwise, obviously, I wouldn't go for it. But sometimes just to have an extra opinion on the item, I do have them authenticated when they arrive. I personally had experience with 3 different companies. When I first started buying pre-loved Louis Vuitton items, I did get them authenticated before I even bought the item, and that was when I bought from eBay, because at the beginning I was quite sure and I knew what to look for, but obviously I was very inexperienced, so and I know that it would be a hassle to kind of buy something and then having to return if I have to open a case about something being fake. So in the past I have authenticated something before purchasing, and I use a company called Authenticate First, so you can send them the link and extra pictures if you have to the company, and then they will authenticate it for you and tell you whether it's authentic or not. I believe it's something like $20. No, I don't think it's that much. I think it's either $10 or $20. I'll double check and then I'll leave the price down below. They will take, usually within a couple of days, they'll send you a certificate saying that they, in their opinion, it's authentic, and then I'll go ahead and buy the item. And sometimes when the item arrives, I would also get it authenticated a second time, because sometimes when you buy an item that's on the listing, it doesn't necessarily mean you will get the actual item that was actually shown in the pictures, if that makes sense. So they could list something showing other people's pictures, and then what arrives is not actually what you saw and had authenticated originally. And sometimes when the item arrives, I'll get it authenticated again. I have had that done through Authenticate First as well as Authenticate For You. Authenticate For You is cheaper. It costs £5 per authentication, and it's really easy. You just pay it through PayPal and upload the pictures onto Facebook, or not onto Facebook, but you send it via a message through Facebook, and then they'll get back to you telling you whether it's authenticate or not, and then they usually take 1 or 2 days. It's really, really quick, and the fact that is very cheap to just get the peace of mind, like £5 is like, definitely, why not? The other place I've had experience, well, not actually personal experience, but I have had authentication done through them, which is via dressing. They offer an in-house authentication service, which is, I think it's €30. So if you buy something from Via Dressing and you would like something authenticated before you get it posted to you, you can pay €30 to get that done. So the seller would have to send the item to Via Dressing. They authenticate it for you before they post it out to you. If you don't choose to pay for that option, then the seller would send the item directly to you. Last time when I bought the Chanel Square Mini, the seller actually offered to pay for that service for me, which is amazing. And that was another kind of reason for me to believe it must be authentic if they're willing to pay the €30 to get it authenticated. So I had that done last time. So the seller posted it to Via Dressing, and then Via Dressing sent the item to me with the certificate. But I personally haven't paid for that service or requested that service myself. Now moving on to the third category, which is my general tips and advice on buying pre-loved luxury goods. Over the years, I've probably been buying and selling Louis Vuitton items maybe about 2 years or so. So I'm not going to say I'm an expert or I'm a pro or anything like that. It's just I have learned certain things along the way, and I'm quite confident in what I'm looking for when it comes to buying pre-loved. So one of the tips would be to do a lot of research, know what you're looking for, and look into the particular brand you're interested in. For example, with Louis Vuitton, there are a few things that you could look for, like kind of familiarize yourself with how the date code should look like. Generally it's the 2 letters with the 4 numbers, but then also if it's prior to prior to 2007, then the date code is slightly different again, as in what they kind of stand for, the numbers. And then pre-1990, again, the date code is a bit different. So just get to know these like tips, what to look out for. My advice buying through eBay would be to ask a lot of questions. Well, usually when I buy through eBay, I look for a listing that's got a lot of pictures and they're very in focus and clear photos, not blurry or kind of at an angle or something. And sometimes you get listings where they just have like 3 photos. Generally, I don't go for listings, or I don't go for items that are kind of don't give me enough information. And I also only generally look at listings that have more of a description. I feel like if someone's kind of put more of an effort into typing up a description, then it's more likely that they're genuine sellers. I don't know, it might just be me, but if someone just puts a line saying something like used twice, good condition, that's it. Like sometimes like, wow, doesn't tell you much about the condition. I feel like I'm more drawn to those who kind of explain a bit about where they purchased the item, whether it's like an unwanted gift, and then at least describe the condition of the bag. And sometimes they tell you like why they're selling, because they're downsizing or they're trying to save up for something different and things like that. So I kind of do gauge on the seller a bit through reading their description. So if someone just has a really short description, I'm just like, nah. Even when they have loads of pictures and a long description, I still tend to find a reason to contact the seller, just to kind of see how they respond. Most listings don't actually say whether there's any smell or odour, and I'm quite particular with like smell and odour. So if it doesn't actually say in the description, that would be my first question to ask is, oh, like, are there any odours, or does it smell of anything like smoke? And just like start the conversation going just by asking like about the smell of the item. So then after the question about the smell, if they haven't actually said why they're selling an item, I would kind of just ask them, oh, just out of interest, why are you selling it, or what's the reason for selling, and just to kind of get a feel from the seller, or just to see how they are and how they respond, how they reply. Also, I probably wouldn't buy from someone who kind of after a few questions then kind of get really impatient and annoyed with me. I want to buy something and then be happy with buying something, rather than kind of feeling like, oh, I better not annoy them and stop asking loads of questions. Like, I want to be confident and comfortable and also happy with paying kind of the money and then getting something pre-loved. But most of the sellers through eBay, and my personal experience, has been great. And another tip would be to pay via PayPal, not through friends and family unless you know someone personally. If something does kind of go wrong and you receive something that isn't right or you're not happy with, you can then open a case through PayPal, and you can get your money back that way. Another tip is, if something's too good to be true, then it probably is. That's quite a simple one, because I do kind of keep an eye on prices if I am interested in a particular item, so I know roughly how much it is new and what they kind of sell for as pre-loved. So if something kind of seems too good to be true, then yeah, probably is. Whenever I sell something, I always try to make the buyer as comfortable as possible, and I am a genuine seller. I don't sell replicas, so I've got nothing to hide, so I want to make sure what I'm selling is legit. I always try to put as much information as I can on the listings, so as much information as I can, and loads of pictures. Another advice is be patient. If there's something specific you are looking for and trying to buy it from the pre-loved market, then it will eventually come up. Sometimes it does take a while because they're just harder to get, not a lot of people are selling it. You will come across them eventually, so just be patient and don't get distracted, because I've done it myself. There'll be certain items that I've been looking to buy pre-loved for so long, and then it just never appears anywhere, and then I kind of get distracted by seeing something else on sale that's quite a good deal, end up buying it, spending my money on that, and then when the item that I actually wanted to buy comes up for sale, then I just, yeah, I'm out of funds. So those were my 3 categories on how I buy pre-loved luxury goods, as well as some of them selling tips as well. Hopefully they were kind of useful and you found them helpful in some way. I know even though I split them into 3 categories, it's still a little bit all over the place because I've got a lot in my mind that I want to share, but kind of not very good at coming up with a coherent way of explaining it all and then kind of sharing it with you guys. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you do have any further questions, please leave them down below in the comments section. I will leave as much information as I can down in the description bar below, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye!